Panel. Today we are going to see the normal microbial flora microbiology. Actually, these are the normally present in our body and they are natural indigenous form of the normal flora are nothing but the normal microbes which are usually beneficial to us, and some are disadvantages. What are their advantages, disadvantages? Let us see. Actually, these are also known as normal microbiota. These are like saprophytes, commensals, facultative pathogens and true pathogens. So actually most microorganisms are commensals which are existing in the symbiotic association with the host, and they take the nutrients and secretions as their benefit, but they neither harm nor cause any disease to us. They are known as commensalism. And most of the organisms of the normal flora are non-pathogenic, but some microorganisms are pathogenic. Most of them are non-pathogenic. Under certain conditions they may cause disease. Those conditions are when the immunity of the host is decreased or resistance to diseases is decreased, that is by any immunosuppressive therapy or by diseases like immunodeficiency, leukemia, AIDS, diabetes, and also instrumental and surgery or burns, and also host resistance conditions conducive for the microorganism flora to cause an opportunistic infection. So occasionally highly pathogenic microorganisms may appear in the normal flora without causing any ill effects. And this normal flora is not static usually. Although the basic flora is constant, the normal flora is divided into the resident flora, that is the constant flora, and the transient flora, that is the variable flora. So the transient flora include the pathogens and also non-pathogens, but the resident flora includes only the constant flora, that is the useful pathogens. So we need to know the detailed knowledge about this to help us in diagnosis of different microorganisms, and also the interpretations of the result in the culture of the report. And the normal flora of the different sides of the body, here you can see they are present everywhere on our, they are present in our nose, in our mouth, in the throat, in the GIT, in the skin, and also in vagina. So what are the floras which are present in different parts? Let us learn. So first, what are the advantages is that the relationship between the commensal and host is a symbiotic type, so in which the both are beneficial. That is, even these microbes also help us to give immunity to us, like not allowing other pathogens, because it is like a competition for the nutrition and other factors, and also sometimes so inhibiting those extra other microorganisms which are causing harm to us. And also they degrade the mucins, epithelial cells, carbohydrate, fibers, and also responsible for the normal structure and function of the intestine. So they are also helpful in the disposal of the waste matter. So they are also helpful for us. And these organisms are normally present in the intestine. They produce the major vitamin B, vitamin K, vitamin E, and also produce organic acids like acetic acid, butyric acid, contribute in the nutrition of the host. And also organisms of normal flora give the overall immunity to the other pathogens not coming to us. And the disadvantages is that there is a confusion in diagnostic between the pathogenic and normal forms, and also the aggregative infection, that is penicillinase producing the bacteria, can aggravate the infection by interfering with the therapy, and also act as a pathogens in the tissues other than their normal habitat. Sometimes they are also found as intestinal bacteria causing the urinary tract infections, and the organisms of the normal flora can become pathogenic sometimes, like when the resistance of the host is low. This all we already know. So now let us see some of the normal flora in the skin. So what are the flora in a skin? A skin is outermost, we know, so it's actually not so favorable because skin is always dry, and there are also many bactericidal substances, and the epidermis is always not conductive. So the most microorganisms are transient here, that is they always move away, they are not there, and they may be sometimes pathogenic, sometimes non-pathogenic. And these are usually the microorganisms love to live in skin, especially in sweat glands and sebaceous glands. In this, transient microflora are more frequently seen on the skin than the residential flora. They usually die rapidly because of the dry environment and others. And the residential flora organisms and comprises, actually the skin comprises both the aerobes and also anaerobes. The anaerobes are predominant in areas where anaerobic conditions are present, example with many sebaceous glands, and microorganisms are constantly present on the skin. So what are the organisms present are gram-positive bacteria like anaerobic corynebacteria, especially Propionibacterium acnes, anaerobic cocci, Staphylococcus epidermidis, Staphylococcus viridans, STR fecalis, micrococci, non-pathogenic bacillus species, aerobic non-pathogenic corynebacterium. So actually the gram-negative bacteria are rarely grown. So what are those? Are Escherichia coli inoculated on skin by fecal contamination, Proteus species, and also Actinobacter species. Other organisms which are found on the skin are like non-pathogenic Mycobacteria, Candida albicans, and other fungi are like Cryptococci and Tyrosporum ovale. And next let us see about conjunctiva. Actually conjunctiva is free from the microbes because of lysozymic action and also because of fluids action of tears, flushing and action of tears. The organisms are scanty actually in this place. They are occasionally present like Corynebacterium, Sclerosis, Staph epidermis, Moraxella species, non-hemolytic Streptococci. And next the normal flora of the mouth. So this is important. Many in mouth there are actually many things. In spite of antibacterial activity of lysosome peroxidase in saliva, the mouth has more mixed and complex flora. So the abundant moisture and because of the small food particles, they always allow the growth of the bacteria. There are also both aerobes and anaerobes present in the mouth. So the examples are Neisseria species, Micrococci, Bacillus species, coliform bacteria, Proteus species, Mycoplasma, Candida, Corynebacterium. These are actually non-hemolytic streptococci. If there are peptococci like Peptostreptococci, Bacterios species, Fusobacterium, Actinomyces species, non-pathogenic Spirochaetus, Lactobacilli, Velinola species. So you can see many species are present in our mouth. And next coming to upper and lower. Actually the lower tract is always sterile, but the upper tract is heavily colonized, and the frequency and the most constantly present in the nose are non-pathogenic Corynebacterium. Nose is actually the natural home for the Staphylococcus aureus. And also other organisms are present in this respiratory tract like Staph epidermis, Set viridans, Neisseria cadralis, Moraxella lacunata, and Haemophilus species. In throat, there are actually Strets viridians and Catharales commonly present. Pneumococci fraudulens are also frequently seen. Nasopharynx is a habitat of common pathogens like causing infections to the nose, throat, bronchi, lungs. Pseudomonas aeruginosa, E. coli, Troas are especially seen occasionally in normal individuals in throat. And next coming to normal flow of GIT. The normal flora of esophagus is again similar to throat, and a healthy stomach is actually sterile with hydrochloric acid and pH, and even duodenum is acidic, and from duodenum to ileum actually the pH decreases and becomes alkaline. So it contains ileum contains 10 power 5 to 10 power 7 microorganism. Large intestine contains more than that, that is 10 power 10 to 10 power 15 microorganisms, and adult normal flora is actually anaerobic, mostly 96 to 99%. Only 1 to 4% are aerobic bacteria, and intestinal flora are aerobes and also anaerobes. So the gastrointestinal tract of fetus is actually generally sterile and colonized with organisms with 4 to 24 hours. So the intestinal flora of breastfed infants contains the lactobacilli, but on substitution of solid food and diet there is predominance of gram-negative bacilli. So what are there in our intestinal are E. coli, aerobic E. coli, Str fecalis, Proteus species, Enterobacter species, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Mycoplasma species, Candida albicans. And anaerobes are bacteriocyte species, Bifidobacterium, Lactobacilli, Clostridia, Peptostreptococci, Eubacterium, and Leptotrichia. Actually these are many names, you can remember it by putting any codes, then it will be easy for you. Actually you can put your own specific codes to remember that. And also in the fecal matter there is most bacteria, but it is mostly dead, that is 15 to 30%. And also the fecus is containing 10 power 10 organisms. Almost 99% are anaerobes in fecus. And normal in genitourinary tract, actually the female vagina is heavily colonized than the male, and the normal vaginal secretions contain 10 power 8 of the bacteria, and the present are enumerated. I will show you next. The smegma bacillus, that is the Mycobacterium smegmatis, is present in the secretions of both male and female, but may cause confusion in the diagnosis of the renal tuberculosis if the specimen of the urine is contaminated by them. In the flora, changes are deposition of glycogen in the vagina is utilized by the lactobacilli by producing the lactic acid, which is resulting to the lower pH. So the resultant acidity prevents the growth of many bacteria. But at birth, the vagina is sterile and it is first 24 hours. It is colonized by micrococci, enterococci, and also non-pathogenic corynebacterium. And after 2 to 3 days, what happens is the deposition of glucose takes place and the lactobacilli predominate. So when the glycogen again disappears after few weeks, the pH becomes alkaline and again the flora changes to micrococci. So according to the glycogen and alkalinic nature, there are many bacteria: alpha hemolytic streptococci, non-hemolytic streptococci, coliforms, and also diphtherios. So again at the puberty, the glycogen reappears and again the flora changes to lactobacilli. So like this, in vagina they keep on changing. Again E. coli and yeast, and after menopause again the flora resemble to found before puberty, same like before puberty. So during pregnancy there is predominance of Staphylococcus epidermis bacteria. So what are the flora present in urogenital tract are micrococci, diphtherios, E. coli, sigma bacilli, epidermis, phallus, genital mycoplasma, corynebacterium, Neisseria, some important Klebsiella, and anaerobes are bacteriocytes, lactobacilli, Eubacterium, Peptococci, Treponema, Clostridium, anaerobic Streptococci, Velanola, Fusobacterium. So you need to learn this by using codes. And which microorganisms commonly found in blood and tissues? Actually, the commensal organisms formed in normal flora of mouth, nasopharynx, intestinal, they may enter into the blood and tissues, but they are actually quickly eliminated by the defense mechanism. So there are no any bacteria or microorganisms in the blood and tissues because they are usually degenerated or they are easily eliminated by the defense mechanism. So this is all about very simple chapter.